Alright, welcome to Songs of SYX. Today I'm going to be doing a brief tutorial on the setup for a game and how to essentially set up a small and thriving civilization in Songs of SYX for your own playthrough. You're going to just jump in and click play. You can select the tutorial. The tutorial doesn't really go over too much. Examples, they give you a base of what a multi-race city will look like here and a agricultural based city right here, Skane. I'm just going to do a random game. I'm going to keep the size small, the latitude central, and the map default, and we're going to go over to humans. Humans are difficult but very easy at the same time to understand because of their shapes. Dwarves as well. Dundarians prefer squares. Humans prefer squares. Garthimi do not care for shapes or anything else, so they're pretty fun, but they eat a lot of meat. Kryptonians and Talapi like circles, so they like things to be round. That sets their race apart from the other races and makes them a lot more difficult to keep in a city trying to match square buildings with circular buildings. I'm going to go quickly over what these races are. So the Kryptonians are essentially hobbits or pig people. They're great at farming and they thrive near water. They don't eat meat, but they can if they are forced to. Dundarians are essentially dwarves, as I mentioned previously. They excel at mining and they enjoy battle. Garthimi are something between a bug person and a goblin. They love to fight and they love to die. If you can get them the right equipment by supplying them with a force of humans or Dundarians, they can become obviously quite proficient. Humans, simple as they are, they're great at most jobs that require intelligence. They're not particularly good at low intelligence jobs. Talapi are weird elf people because they prefer cannibalism. Other than that, they're the exact same as an elf would prefer to be. They like to live in forests, they love to grow animals, and so forth. There are two races that are something akin to gods. Giant people called Cantors, and another one, Argonash, who are essentially spider people. Sometimes you'll see them here in the background as it's scrolling by, and there's an implication that some of these other characters here might have something to do with it. Obviously this seems to look like a god. There's a deeper lore, and I don't know too much about it. So we're just going to jump in as humans. I made the mistake last time of jumping in as Talapi. And I'm going to go over the essential starter region and how you're going to build your first town if you follow my guide. So you can start with all of these different traits. I haven't unlocked Slaver or the Rated or any of these others. I unlocked these by simply loading in one of those example cities, and all of these were given to me. So for early boosts, you can get the Negotiator, the Crafter, and the Master of Bargains. These will boost your crafting and bartering. The Leader would boost your population and knowledge, and this would boost your starting settlement. I don't want to do that because I want to show you guys what it's like to start with the base 10 people. It's a little simpler. So we're gonna go and scroll over. On the north, if you look on the top right, there's cold regions, and on the south there's warm. Each region has bonuses and negatives to growth for specific animals and plants. We're going to stay in a temperate environment, and we're going to try to get a place that's suitable for humans, that has access to water, trees, and a lot of open land. This looks pretty good. Taxes aren't too important early on, as you're not going to be paying much close attention to them. Bear with me as I try to find a place that's suitable. You always want to have a fertility, in my opinion, higher or around 80. So we'll start here. We don't have any mountains. which might be a challenge because you can see that we don't have Sicilian, but we have access to gems, clay, coal, ore, and stone. Most rivers will have a small access to these. The closer you get in plains, you'll often have more stone, surprisingly. Alright, on the top you can see our landing party, and then these are the deposit numbers. Basically the amount of ore that can be gathered. So these are about 12% deposits, and that's a pretty decent deposit, and that's a pretty decent deposit if they are as whole as they may be, but they probably aren't. So you can see they're spread out. There's 2 clay deposits here and then 1 over there, so that means that they're a little less full of clay in these ones, and this one's probably more packed with clay. The stone, on the other hand, is just 1 full vein, so it's probably very strong access to the deposit, and we will get more from it. Our iron is over here, and our our coal is all the way over here. Normally, if I was to play on my own, I would re-roll several hundred times until I get the coal and the iron in a similar area, as well as the other stuff. Usually you can alter that by having a small mountain in the area, but as I don't, I kind of cap myself there. So I think it's always best to settle in the center of the city, even if you don't want to leave your capital there. So I'm going to set it right there. This is your capital building, throne room rather, and these are your 10 beginner settlers. They all have their own names, thoughts and feelings. They have a weight. Sometimes they don't like to tell you their weight or their height because they're a little bit shy. They're so much fun to read those guys' stuff. I recommend you do it when you're just playing in your own free time, but we don't have time because it's the beginning of spring, the day 1, year 1. The first thing I always make a mistake doing is I put other stuff down, but I recommend putting a fruit field because people will start eating the fruit and it will start to rot. So we're going to put a 20 by 20 fruit field right next to the center. And before they even get access to it, you can right click on their tab. Each race has a tab, and you can see their population. These are in the green because nothing has changed. But if I was to get some immigrants, this would go down. If I was to get some other slaves, this would go up. If I was to get slaves of their type, it would go down, so on. You can set this to allow a specific amount. There'll be like 2 or 3, you can adjust it, or you can adjust this auto to set it. Let's say you want to have 25 total, you can set it like that. Auto 5. Auto will put 25 into your city when they are trying to get in. That's based on how happy they are, so their loyalty and their happiness. Loyalty can be attributed to all those things on the bottom left there, or the top left. Happiness, indoctrination, education, soldiers, armies, and royal race. So if we have our own race as the constant and the highest majority, they will be happy and loyal. The same goes for this row here. So they have specific fulfillments they need, expectations, and bonuses. You can see they even have serial killers, prosecuted, free drinks, handouts, days off. You can affect all of these things in your decrees, and if you click properties, you can scroll through and see the average scale of what the person does. Humans are the most unlawful, so they often do more crime than the other races. I wonder what that says about us. So we're gonna select access, and you can see this changed the whole tab on the right. You can see that there's no starvation occurring, but we don't have any food preference being achieved or their days being filled. That will be done when we get a warehouse. They technically have quite a few days of food. Oh, we started with mushrooms. That's weird. I've never started with mushrooms before. Anyways, well, that's strange. That threw a little wrench in my plans. So we're going to delete this because they don't even have access to fruit. and we're gonna build a mushroom farm instead. It used to be that you'd get vegetables, so I'm wondering if it's just completely random, and every time I've played this game since, I've always had fruit. So you can see I need 120 mushrooms, which is not possible. They are not equivalent to the other fruits there. So 20 mushrooms or 10. So it should be good for 15. Oh, that's not how you math. We'll just put another one like that. No. It seems to want to make my life absolutely miserable. So I'm gonna skip through all this until I get what's necessary. Alright, I guess that's a mushroom farm. Never have I ever had this happen. Regardless, we'll just cover what these people are doing now. They are swearing fealty to my throne. Every time an immigrant or a new person is born or comes into the city, they have to swear fealty to you. If you click up here on the shield status, you can see that I am Pioneer Bob of Pew. Technically, you can change all of that. These are your titles that I chose previously and the bonuses that I've got for my region. And this is changing my faction name or the town. This changed my real name, Fiend. And I can change the flag's shape as well as alter the flag like this. So if I wanted to, I could make it look a little more crazy like that. Some of this. And you can change the color for the background, make it lighter or darker. Change it to green. You can change the foreground of the color shape like that to something yellow. You can change the border of it like that, and so on and so forth. You can change the pole's color like that. So that's a decent one. It kind of looks like an upside down tree or something with some of these. Yeah, that's fine. And then from here, you can even change the colors of all of your roads and floors. I don't really like to touch that because it's a little cumbersome. So we're just gonna back out of here. We're gonna let these people continue building their mushroom farm. I'm not convinced that this is going to be enough to feed our whole entire population. So we're just not even gonna get more people this season. We're going to let them build this, and we're going to build them houses. And we're definitely going to get a hunter for this year. So for your first few buildings, you need a housing, obviously. So we're going to build them in little neighborhoods. And I've already kind of planned out how I want to do it. Where they need access to a hearth and a well. These should be good, and we'll put a well, big old well right in next to them, like that. And then we'll put housing right there. Now this might be overkill because they technically can't access more people to the well than is allotted per slot. So there's 12 slots. More people can use it than 12. I'm not gonna worry. I want to make nice little customized boxes like this so that they have immediate access to hearth and wells, and then they'll likely have a lavatory attached somewhere along. This is going to be a main road going all the way down and up. This will not be here. There will be a castle somewhere else, and every group of humans will live off the side. We also need to get a janitor. Janitors are something that most people forget to do early. We're just gonna put that janitor kinda off to the side of the road here. That's farming district, so I don't want to fill it with stuff already. I think we'll be fine to put the janitor here because this will be the center of town. It's important to plan your city out and also give them roads once this is done. The fields need to be done before spring is over. Preferably in the first day of spring. So we're even going to suspend a job over here. Because I don't need a janitor. And we'll suspend these jobs too. So they make that specific thing. And we'll suspend the jobs to clear stuff. And we'll gather one guy. So now we have 12 people, and there's 12 houses. For some reason, the game doesn't always allow the people to live there, so we'll have to build another little block. We'll leave a little space, put it right, probably over here actually, because this is very fertile. And the people are actually going to move this. Because you can see, this is a super fertile zone, over here is not. So we'll put this like that. Remove all this from here. Boom. And the mushrooms are up. In the third day of spring, by the end of the day, they should be done building. Perfect. Those fields planted, boys. And then we need a janitor. Right here. This is why I hate them. They really should have it so that the job that they were doing first is the one they finish, but there's people freezing, so I didn't want them to keep complaining about this hard situation. They don't even have access to stone, so that's fine. They're gonna continue building this until it's done. I believe mushrooms are harvested in summertime, but I don't know for the life of me. We do need to set harvest for wild vegetables and fruits. So we get some of these, some of these. That's cotton and some wheat. Some more veggies. Oh, there's only 4 or 5 fruits. This will be good right here. We want to gather some wild vegetables so that we have some for the fields when we try to build them. If you don't do this in the first year, I pray for you, because you will be dead by the next year, as your population will quickly eat everything, even all of your rations, and you'll be left starving to death. They cannot hunt as fast as they used to hunt. Even with the animals right here, they will not be able to hunt as fast as they need to survive. Maybe with 12 people you could pull it off, but the hunters have been kind of debuffed for humans or something, because I can't seem to keep the population of hunters alive long enough to even get food. So they're very quickly doing this job, or rather as slow as they possibly can. Finally, mushroom fields are up. And the harvest is in 6.9 days, so that should be the beginning of spring. Which actually works out for us, because our population will be kind of wrapping around at that time. And you can see we've got the early infrastructure pretty much set up here. Build a centralized road. We don't want to build a big old road, because it's going to be hard to maintain and build. So we'll build one of these. And we'll do this. Like that. Build access to it from there. And we are going to want to put a warehouse. Put it over here. Big old warehouse. Good for lots of grain storage, lots of fruit. $10,000. Put another one in, just so that you can not have to expand it later. Sometimes it's good to build huge buildings now, or small, just so you can get them done. Alright, get those guys going. And this early warehouse will be set for everything, but later on down the line you're going to want specific stockpiles for food and livestock, etc. We're going to put in a hunter. Oops, it's an agriculture. Which really doesn't make any sense. The hunter in there so it's kind of symmetrical to this little zone here. And this is a fairly decent start to the city. You can see they have access to everything they'd ever need. All the people are living where they need to, although for some reason there's still houses that are vacant. To deal with that, we'll just copy this area, and this is very useful for later so that you just don't even have to worry about shape. We can just do one of these. I think we could probably get away with, I'll put a space between that. We'll boost our population a little bit. Just because I like to usually have roughly 100 and so people so that you can kind of deal with any attacks that might come. See that they went out and harvested this grain. This is the end of this summer. And now we've got grain and fruits just sitting in fields. So we're going to need this warehouse built quickly. We don't have enough materials. It's a big old clear job. We have access to stone up here. That's the question. Oh, here's some good old stone over there. And get them to go finish this up. Now, if you had previously seen my other playthrough, this is probably looking pretty similar, but I didn't go over a lot of these early things. I just kind of jumped right into this, and I was just going straight to what I knew I needed to do. I definitely want to, in the future, explain more about games. Some people dislike that. I can understand that completely. I don't always like it. But with Song of SYX, it's one of the games that I played and I just couldn't even figure out. I actually put down for a year or two and didn't play it for a long time. And I really regret that because it's super fun. Like this guy here, Vernon, he just carried this cadaver and he's gathering the meat out. You can physically see the meat building on the side. And his hunter buddy, he went out, or she went out and tried to get some food, but she failed. And they're trying to hunt these little animals out here. But you can even see, look at that. I thought this was something else. These are flowers, and you can see that it's a late summer or fall, or early fall, and they are in bloom. These little guys, the Dinosaurs, extremely valuable for your population because they give you eggs. If you kill them all, I don't believe you can make a pasture for them. Yeah, they don't have a pasture. So these are one of the few animals that you kind of want to regulate killing, but the hunters really don't regulate themselves, so they'll likely come out here and try to kill every animal from these little onyx to these dinosauruses. Kind of sucks. I wish that there was like a wild hunter who just left them alive and collected their eggs. Maybe you can even select that in the settings somewhere. There's so much to do in this game that I really don't know everything. As much as I'd like to admit pretty decent, I don't know everything, and I'll be learning still. Every single game is a experience in its own right, and there's never been one that's similar. As I mentioned previously, I have always had fruits, and now all of a sudden I've got mushrooms. I don't know if that was because where I chose or what, but it threw a curveball to my plan, because I had to build this structure around the mushrooms because they don't grow inside the light. So hopefully we'll get this constructed and this constructed fast. We got 8 jobbers working. We have 4 working in the farm, 2 working in the hunter, and 1 working here at the janitor. We'll keep getting our population up. Our goal is to have around 20 for right now, because we'll expand this out later. The janitor will likely move over here, as I was thinking I'd like the hunter to be up closer to the food. And we'll build another neighborhood here. Waiting for them to finish the warehouse so that kind of can wrap it up. I don't like to leave my city when I'm playing personally at a point where I don't know where I am. So I like to leave it somewhere where I can access growth. And that means having a warehouse, having housing, having a food production. Everything else is kind of extra. Matter of fact, there's one other thing I forgot. These used to have to be unlocked, but now you just immediately get them unlocked. So we're going to put a speaker in right here on the road. And this will give them access to entertainment and culture, basically. We got guys mining for stone. We've got people pulling for wood. There we go. The beginning of winter is when they start to harvest mushrooms. And it looks like we pulled out literally no mushrooms at all. 10 mushrooms. Yep, and our hunter is bleeding out. Glare. Part of the reason why it's dangerous to be a hunter is they, I think, cut themselves on their knives. They also tend to get mauled, but this is an accident. She hurt herself. So she's gonna bleed out and die. Nothing we can do, nothing we can say about it, so we're gonna build her a mass grave and put that mass grave kind of over here, because there's gonna be a lot of people dying from these animals, as they are basically giant ostriches and they can rip a person in half. She might have been ripped up over there. We need stone bad. We need this stone to be pulled. Because I want to get the food stored so that we know what we're working with on the map. And Claire has passed away. They're gonna drag her body to the pit when it's done. Yep, there she is. These bodies will affect them and make them unhappy. So you can see she's all bloody and her eyes are white. Over time, she'll become gray and then start rotting the area up. You can see she's dragged, and now she's been placed inside this pit. There's 4 services, so 4 people can be thrown in there. Doesn't make them very happy. Humans prefer to have a graveyard for their friends to visit their dead body, but we don't really have that money. It also appears like when she died, her clothing came off, which is good for us, because clothing is valuable. That was probably more valuable than her. We're still waiting for this warehouse to get constructed. Alright, and the warehouse has finally been gathered for, and we're gonna set this warehouse to pick up everything that's not been gathered. So we're gonna put rations, meat, fruit, mushrooms, vegetables, stone, lots of space for wood, grain, some leather, animals, cotton, eggs, and clothing, as well as carpentry. And you can see that's a lot of stuff for one specific building. We'll spread that out later. We need people to be employed here. We have 5 people on that, and they're gonna go run and gather the mushrooms, the eggs, the meat, and the other vegetables that we have laying around, so that we can make a field. We need a grain field. We need it now. So we're gonna put this down. 40. That's a good old grain field. Got good fertility. And we'll put a bakery right here. But that's going to be for the next episode / tutorial playthrough. Hope you guys have been enjoying the other playthrough that I was doing, and hopefully you like this one more. I know it's a big bummer to remove a large chunk of videos, and some people may not get to that point of ever watching or knowing I did them. That's perfectly fine. I obviously can remake content. I'm still alive, so my goal is to kind of up the production quality, especially on the first videos where there's a lot of mic cuts, a lot of background noise. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you all next time.